All right, guys, part 3. I still have them here. Should we toast again? Part 3. Cocktails with Curt.
Cocktails with Curt.
All right, so we were talking a little bit in the last segment about the experience with the lenders, and I think in this one we want to talk about having not just being real estate agents, but being homeowners. Because when you're a couple, if you have a roommate, if it's just you, a lot of financial burden is shared or it's all on you. So we just want to talk about some of the upfront costs first, and then after you buy, what expenses are.
I think going back to, I used this term in one of the videos. It may have been part 1 or 2, but going back to the term of financial readiness. I think just to put a little more definition and clarity around that, what I mean by that is, I'm not saying that, you have to have an entire 20 years, savings saved. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some things that, you may not know if this is your first time going down the home buying process in terms of, what are some of the upfront costs.
So let's stop there and let's just talk a little bit about those. So you go under contract. One of the first things you have to do is put down
earnest money.
Ding, ding, ding. And that's going to be held in a trust account, usually by a broker or a closing attorney. And that money is still your money at that point, and it's going to be used hopefully towards your down payment, closing costs, or you're going to get it back. It's typically about 1% of the sales price. So on a $300,000 house, you're probably looking at $3,000.
And what that does is that basically tells the seller that you're a worthy enough buyer and you would like them to take the house off the market while you go through your due diligence period, and they won't offer the home for sale for anybody else. So it's basically if you think of it as almost like a security deposit or good faith.
For me to take this house off the market, you are you're gonna go through with this deal.
Yeah.
So the next thing is an appraisal is ordered.
An appraisal is ordered, and the prices on those can vary. I mean, again, depending on the size of the house, but you're looking at anywhere from $300 to
maybe $600. If it's a big house.
Yeah, if it's a pretty big house. So again, that's out of pocket. It is credited back.
It'll be credited back to you at closing,
but it's an upfront cost. So when I talk about financial readiness, we've already just come up with 2, and there's more to go. So you have your earnest money.
Yeah, if you're going into this with $1,000, it's probably
you might want to rethink: am I financially ready? Okay.
We'll I like that term, financially ready. I'm gonna start using
financial
that.
readiness. I'm not using my term unless I'm in the video. Anyway.
Okay. Third cost, not a mandatory cost, but wouldn't you highly recommend, no matter if it's new or resale, an
inspection fee,
a private inspection.
So, and the reason why this is never, it's never required, but we recommend it is because wouldn't you like to move into a home, whether it's a new construction, which is still built by human beings, so it's still subject to error,
different
defects,
vendors,
etc. Or resale? Wouldn't you rather go into that with peace of mind and just knowing the ins and outs of what's working, what's about to stop working, what's not working at all, so that you could potentially negotiate getting some of the repairs, which we would do on your behalf.
Yeah, if it's something major like the HVAC is not working, those are reasonable things to ask the seller to pay for. The roof is leaking,
but you have to pay for that. So you are paying it. Again, it's not required.
It's not required.
It's recommended, but there is a fee associated.
Yeah, and they typically run, I would say, for a straight up home inspection about $400 to $600. But if you, it happens sometimes in a slab, but mostly in basements, a radon test. Remember last year that came out for one of our clients, and actually it happened to us twice last year. And they do what's called a radon mitigation. A company comes in. And radon, if anybody doesn't know, is like an odorless gas, but above a 4.0 EPA level, they recommend getting it taken care of because it can cause cancer. So again, this is why it's important to have an agent. These are things that people would never know.
Keep in mind, it's not required. It's
not required.
If the
new home builder is going to say, it's fine.
But if you didn't, so again, if you're in a situation where you're financially strapped, you might be more likely to say, okay, I won't get that. It's not required.
I'm not going to spend the extra.
I'm not going to spend extra money, and then look what the potential risks
are to your kids or you.
So it's the earnest money, appraisal fee, inspection.
What else? Is there anything else along the way? Not really. You might have an upfront cost, like when you're turning on a utility, they might ask for a security deposit, something like that. But those are the big ones.
But I think even with those though, you're already up to a couple $1,000s.
Right, a couple thousand. And we haven't even gotten to the closing table, which is what? Cash to close.
Cash to close.
So we can, we're always going to try to negotiate closing costs for you. And I tell you guys all the time, it's about 3 to 4%, depending on the county and the city you're living in, for your prepaids and your closing costs. And prepaids involve upfront costs for homeowners insurance, and you're paying a big portion of your property taxes upfront to set up an escrow account. So say your overall prepaids and closing costs come to $10,000, and we negotiated for the seller to pay $5,000. You're $5,000 short, so automatically that is $5,000 I have to cash to close. That doesn't include the down payment, which may be another $10,000,
right, or something, depending on what.
If it's like a $300,000 price point. So these are all the numbers that you'll run with the lender.
So what I say, going back to my point,
you can see how the numbers add up.
You can see how the numbers add up. So to that term, financial readiness,
right?
You should always ask yourself, you, your spouse, whomever you're going, down this path with, are we financially ready to embark on this journey? And are we going to be financially ready to handle the responsibility once we arrive at the end of this journey, which is getting those keys in hand? Because something else that I said that doesn't translate when you rent and you buy is once you own a home, you are financially responsible for all the maintenance and all of the issues within that house. So
if the HVAC stops working,
you're either going to freeze or sweat to death, or you're coming out of pocket to get that repair or replaced.
That technician out, right?
But there's no landlord that's going to come to fix it for you, and you don't have to open up your checkbook or swipe your card. So again, not to discourage people,
financial readiness,
but financial readiness is a big deal. There's a reason why there's foreclosures. There's a reason why people get into homes and lose them in less than 5 years after being in the home, because when they got in the home, they pushed the max of their budget and left no room for what ifs. And if you're not contributing to a 401k at work, get going on that. If you're not contributing to an IRA, get going with that. How does your bank statements look? It's not like he just described financial readiness. It's not about putting a security deposit down like on a rental, and that's it. You just saw the thousands of dollars. And again, it's not to scare anybody, because there are programs out there, as we talked about in previous videos about credit and all that. When you have excellent credit, it opens up the doors for down payment assistance, lower interest rates to help lower some of these costs. In the next video, we'll talk about some of the after you own a home costs in the next video, and just talk a little bit about that. But what's that term you just said? Financial readiness.
So you guys, financial readiness is the phrase of the day.
I should come off and give you ideas.
You did. I love that. I love that. Another toast. All right. Cocktails with Curt continues.